All right, welcome on everyone to a huge game. And the big news, of course, is that Mike Conley will not be playing for the Wolves. Apparently, he heard it on what was a meaningless last play of the game in similar fashion, actually, although it wasn't necessarily meaningless, to Damian Lillard hurting his Achilles near the end of game three in that series against Indiana. So, what does the loss of Conley mean tonight?
You could argue that game four was an offensive loss for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they lose some of their offensive impetus, not only in the starting lineups, but especially when Anthony Edwards is off the floor. We already saw those minutes be a disaster in game four. I don't know how much Anthony Edwards is going to sit, but that's a big part of this. And of course, Conley, that maybe that you can get more pressure. Maybe the pressure defense is better, but it's going to be a hard hill to climb.
Yeah, it certainly is. And particularly because the Conley Gobert pick and roll is something that I wanted them to lean into more. And then you mentioned the Ant being off the floor aspect. They don't really have anyone else who can attack off the dribble from the perimeter, or even bringing the ball up. Not that Denver is a big pressure team, so they get right into this with Murray guarded by Edwards. I don't know how long Edwards can go in this matchup, given what his crazy offensive responsibilities. Tough fadeaway by KCP and Denver, picking up right where they left off by making very difficult shots.
Huge part of game four. I mean, Denver's shot making was incredible. Jokic, I think, was the centerpiece of that, but Jamal Murray did some too.
So they've got Ant now guarded by KCP again, and immediately they get McDaniels in the dunker spot, working out of that. And I think part of the reason for that is if Murray is going to be hiding out of McDaniels, force him to be the low man where he was somewhat effective. Here's a back door. Rudy comes over, rejects Porter Jr. Edwards is on him. They kick it out. 5 to shoot. Murray, oh, beautiful spin around Towns floater. Gobert was very aggressive. He's there, and then it's tipped home by Murray. He followed his own shot.
And no Timberwolves were really there. Gobert's out to contest the shot, and so Murray sneaks in, gets a second chance point.
But it seems like Gobert is going to be more aggressive, challenging higher on the floor here than he was in the last game. Here's McDaniels on a beautiful drive, setting up Towns for three, and he cashes that out 5-4 Wolves.
And the quality of shots, corner threes are always something to look for. Huge dynamic in this game, massive game five.
Here's Porter Jr. Towns goes to him. Now Jokic wants to interact back with Porter Jr. He was too slow getting into it. Now Murray will have to do it. He continues to wheel around. Edwards is right there. Murray trying on Edwards. Tough fadeaway. And he missed that one. Edwards a little bit too strong for him. Oh, Gobert was wide open. They completely missed him on that play. Towns is going to miss, and Gobert can't get the tip.
Two bigs behind the play. Good job by
getting
Minnesota.
back. Porter Jr., tough jumper. Nuggets settling a little bit here. Pretty much every initial shot has been a tough jumper by not Jokic. Edwards gets Murray onto him. Now it's Gobert in the middle of the floor. Too slow on the pass to McDaniels, and a travel takes place because KCP gets out there. But if that pass happens right away, he's got a wide open three.
Yeah, we've seen some decision-making challenges here.
Yeah, without Conley, the Wolves passing is going to get pretty rough, but they're going to get here a offensive foul. I think is that Gordon?
I think that's an illegal screen on Gordon, yes. Let me check my box score. Yes.
Three-man screening action here for Edwards. KCP just gets through it. Now they involve Jokic. Ant shorting the pick and roll early. No real advantage. And Porter Jr. comes in to block Alexander Walker from behind. Late clock, Alexander Walker into the pick and roll. Wants to post Towns. He doesn't have time. He has to go faster than that. And he does score. Wow, okay. He just beat the shot clock. I take it back, but I thought he had to turn immediately before the double team got there. He just made a great play to beat it. It's Edwards back on Murray. Murray actually was open underneath. They didn't see him. Flex action here. Nope, they go back to Gordon and Jokic interacting. Towns takes away the three. They go weak side. Porter Jr. Oh, he's going to get fouled by McDaniels. McDaniels looked like he was right there with 2.1 on the shot clock.
I thought that was contact to the hand, but here actually,
oh, that's clean as a whistle right there, and that's a 3-shot foul. They got to challenge this. Yeah, they have to. I mean, maybe there's something that we're going to see that we didn't see initially, but that is dead bang clean as far as I could tell.
And Rob asked if there's a way to delay the audio because we're ahead of your stream. Yes, that's part of why we do a YouTube stream. For playback users, is there any basketball reason why OKC puts non-finishers like Dort in the dunker spot? Part of it is you kind of have to put them somewhere, and if they're what?
Yeah, exactly. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, you have to put them somewhere, and there aren't that many places, and you only have so many corners, and above the break, you can bring extras into like Shea's actions and stuff. And Lou Dort is a limited finisher, but he can also like be an offensive rebounder. He can get involved in the actions, and if he's like wide open, he'll of course make it.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of times someone will have to stand there because if you just straight up go with 5 out, then they can kind of do like a little too easy boxes and elbows. And so and there's just only so much stuff you can run without someone being inside the arc. But I think number one is that guy should have been Chet more. And also that guy they should have picked a different guy, or he should then, if he is going to roll the basket, then clear out to the corner. So it definitely was. It's called the dunker spot for a reason because you want someone who can dunk down there. That's kind of the point of it. But I think the big reason for it too was Luka would be guarding that guy. He would set the screen. It was all trying to get Luka onto Shea, but then Luka's man would just run towards, like, he wouldn't pop. He would just run towards the basket. And against a team with less rim production, maybe you could actually find that guy rolling to the rim, but not the Dallas Mavericks. Against the Nuggets, that play actually might work a little bit if that ended up being a matchup.
Potentially, yeah. What is the theory behind starting Josh Giddey?
Well, didn't you hear he was drafted number 6 overall back in 2021, and he's always started for him?
He has always started for them. And Giddey, he's a wonderful passer, can make decisions with the ball in his hands. The hope is that he could shoot more and shoot better than he has so far. And he has size. He doesn't use that size particularly well on defense, but he does have it. And there's also the element of like kind of a lack of suitability replacements. Now, part of the theory behind Giddey in the early days was you always want to have at least 2 guys who can dribble and make good decisions on the floor. But Jalen Williams surpassed him quickly enough, J-Dub in this case, quickly enough that I think that changed the thought making. It should have changed the thought making process there. But they also didn't have a great person lined up to fill that last spot. I do not know the stats on how often the underdog specifically wins game 5. I believe in these circumstances, so it's 2-2. The oh yeah, that's clean. The home team wins. I think.
Wait, did they lose the challenge? No, they didn't. Okay. Yeah, 2.1 to shoot here. Oh, they blew the switch. Gobert looking at Ant, and Gobert is like, why would you expect me to switch onto KCP in that circumstance? Why wouldn't you just stay with him? Here's Gobert coming downhill, goes around Gordon, and Gordon did not get his body in front of him. Good aggressive move by Rudy Gobert.
And Nate, that's Aaron Gordon's second foul already. Could be big.
Yeah, what was the first one? Can't remember.
The offensive foul of Jaden McDaniels.
Ah,
the screen.
The offensive foul. That's right.
So this could potentially be a way, even though Peyton Watson's not a great matchup for the lineup on the floor, to have Peyton Watson get some minutes in this game.
Yeah, you imagine that Brown would be the first choice there, Christian Brown.
Yeah, Christian Brown. Let's see. So Gordon's still on the floor right now.
Yeah, and this is even without him having to guard Ant either. They went away from that matchup, at least to start. Good pressure by Alexander Walker. Backdoor. And did Porter Jr. just lose that? Billy Kennedy doesn't know, but
It
the baseline
hit,
referee has it.
Yeah, it hit one of the Wolves on the shin and bounced back the other way. It was a low pass. Gordon's now coming out. Let's see who comes in for him.
Any fix to the video periodically freezing? I think probably mine is okay. I would say just refresh potentially.
That's Justin Holiday.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Yeah, they want to keep some shooting out here. Here's Gobert guarding Jokic, and he still scored. I mean, so a couple of these shots that he's made, like it's clearly higher than what his normal shot would be. Like that floater he made in the second half of Game 4. There's a post up by Towns, double team, and then right back out to Alexander Walker. They generally did not double team quite as simply as that, and Towns makes the easy pass in front of him.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a nightmare of an offensive Game 4. It was 1 for 7, I believe, from the field.
Yeah, with Gordon out now and Holiday in, they go Gobert on Jokic, and that's going to be Towns coming over. But just those devastating face cuts that Nikola Jokic does, that really more bigs, I'm surprised that they have not emulated them. Maybe they're just not smart enough. But Jokic, he'll fake like he's going over to set a screen, and then he just sprints in front of his own man. Right? I mean, that's one of the things you learn basketball 101 at the high school level. Is like you can't let yourself get face cut because you're giving up an easy backdoor, and Jokic does that, guys, all the time.
It's kind of like a no HO because they're expecting a handoff action. It doesn't happen.
No HO? That's not bad.
Working on it.
Let's start using that. Jokic doesn't hit that one. Minnesota seems like they're honestly being outplayed right now, but they're up. But I was starting to say, with Holiday on the floor, now they're putting Towns off of Jokic and putting Gobert on him. Here's a drive by Edwards. He's just wrapped up. Wow, that was pretty much a give-up foul there. You don't see that very often in the half court anymore.
And it's still called a shooting foul, but you do prevent the shot. Has Knicks Pacers finally ended? Yeah, it's over.
Is this a question from an hour and a half ago?
No. I was just wondering because of all the replay reviews.
No, but like the game itself competitively was over at the end of the third. Yeah. Pacers actually got back within 7 briefly, and then just couldn't score at all in the third. Yeah, we'll talk more about that, of course, as Ant misses that free throw. Both teams haven't been particularly reliable from the line early. Screen for Jokic. He pops out against Gobert. Kind of back in one-on-one. Do they double? Jokic gets to his spot, goes to the left hand. I mean, that's just beautiful footwork. And that's the move over his right shoulder that Jokic has added this year. Going with the left hand, and his touches. I mean, to just add that in a year and be reliable is impressive. As there's McDaniels with the 3. Not really much happening on that possession for Denver to give up that 3.
And Minnesota 3 of 4 from long range.
Man, Jokic has had like the 2 sickest dunks of his career. I was mad at us that we forgot to talk about that dunk he had on the podcast.
I nearly twice, yeah.
Yeah, but here's Edwards against KCP. Going to try to get downhill at Jokic. No foul call on the screen as KCP went down. Gobert sets the flare screen. Towns in and out on his left corner jumper.
And Gobert maybe starting to understand that those screening actions aren't going to get called in this series.
Gobert, good contest on Porter Jr. Doesn't matter. Denver's fast break puts them into the lead, 16-15. Edwards double team. No obvious pass available there. So they'll try again. KCP keeping him out of the middle, but he falls down to do it. Now Edwards splits the double. He had Gobert again. That's got to be a pass to Gobert. And Jokic, that was so cagey. He sees that Gobert is going to be out of guarding position trying to get back in and just goes right into his body. Though that theoretically is the one that they're not really calling much anymore. Yeah, Anton and Gobert have had some pretty ugly miscommunications here early. So Minnesota is just not communicating very well. This is, to me, I would say Denver's best offensive stretch of the series, just in terms of the quality of looks that they are generating. Not obviously they've scored exceedingly well at times, but it's been making just great shot makers making great shots. This has been actual like wide open shit at the rim.
Yeah, it has been really impressive. And they're not generating corner threes other than the MPJ one, but they haven't needed that to get good shots.
Towns at the elbow. Can they space it well enough against the double team? Good pressure by Porter Jr. and that was KCP who doubled again. Now it's Ant going at Holiday and he drains it.
Notable that the double there didn't produce any real advantage for Minnesota, though Ant made the three anyway.
Yeah, it did get Holiday onto Ant as KCP comes right back with his three-pointer against the under. Yeah, it is. I guess it's just Holiday as the main matchup on Ant. Pick and pop McDaniels three-pointer. That missed it. Murray has been relatively quiet here. Gets it to Jokic as they switch out to put Reed on him. It's Reed and Towns together. Where's the double going to come from? KCP just hit from there. Way short that time, though. Rushed it a little bit.
And something we'll keep an eye on, this is looking like another low turnover game, just one for each team so far.
So this is one of their first call-ups of Porter Jr. Oh, he traveled. Yeah, did they call that travel on Ant? Oh, Towns is down here. What happened there?
KCP kind of, oh no.
That is bad knee?
Yes, it left knee.
All right, so yeah, it is a bang of that knee. Looks like. Yeah, hopefully he just banged this knee. Yeah, I think he's going to be able to continue.
Okay.
It doesn't feel good, but it didn't look like a specific injury mechanism there other than just a contusion. Reed being guarded by Murray. They're double teaming. And with Anderson on the floor, we were seeing the Wolves try to guys trying to set a bunch of flare screens. And bad foul by Holiday. He does get him on the arm. But they had him bottled up pretty well. If he just goes straight up there, it was going to be a wild shot.
It was very late in the clock there. And so instead, Naz Reid going to the free throw line. And he had a big second half in this building of game one, and then he played well in game two as well.
Yeah. Relatively absent from the proceedings in games 3 and 4, however. And the miss was absent right there as well.
Why are the Wolves shooting so well in Denver? I would attribute it to small sample size and random chance. They have been getting good looks at times overall, especially in those first two games with feedback loops. But that you don't attribute that to anything other than random chance when the sample's this small.
Yeah, I mean it's been a lot of Edwards on Murray. I don't love that. I think they just need more from Edwards offensively. Here's Jokic blowing by Towns. Somehow they finally get a lucky floater miss to the Wolves. That was his easiest shot of the night. Reed in transition. Good closeout. Pass was too low for McDaniels, but they hit the trailer Edwards. Not even close.
And the Nuggets did a nice job there not defending Kyle Anderson in transition, but they still give up an open three because everyone went down towards the baseline.
Into the post, Jokic gets it back. Holiday, Mr. movement shooter all the time. And I know Jokic is trying to get some quick movement, encourage that quick touch game. But I thought he was in the post there against Edwards, and they could have got something a little more incisive in the end.
Towns is moving okay. That's kind of how he runs.
Yeah, there are certain guys that's just hard to tell, right? There's Anderson pick and roll with Towns. He'll shoot it over Jokic and knock it down. They switch that, but Jokic doesn't quite get up to the jumper from Kyle Anderson, and he can be effective from that range. McDaniels is now back on Murray. It's Edwards guarding Porter
I
Jr.
didn't see McDaniels touch that ball. I'm guessing he did because he didn't freak out.
Jokic trying to post up. They get it to him. He's been in the lane a long time, so he has to go right away and read his third block shot of the series on a Jokic jumper. That was impressive. Anderson waves Towns through, wants to set up Reed one-on-one. That was actually pretty good recognition by Anderson to see that matchup out on the floor. Now Jokic trying to post up deep again. They get it to him. Reed. Oh, did you see that, Danny?
Did he tip
you
it to himself?
No, Reed tipped it, and Jokic knew exactly where it was going and just went to get it. Or maybe Jokic did tip it to himself. Whatever it was.
Jokic did it.
He did it?
Yeah.
That's incredible. That is unbelievable. Preternatural anticipation.
Like, he tipped it, and he tipped it sort of like we saw in another game. He tipped it backwards so that Reed's momentum was going the other direction. I hope they show that again. I'm pretty sure I saw that right.
I'm not sure whether Reed actually got a little bit of a hand on it or not, but I think Jokic felt Reed's hand there. And sometimes if you're more often it would happen to me when I played in rebounding, actually, where you could kind of just feel the other guy there. You could feel there's another hand there. So rather than try to grab the ball and bring it down, because like the other guy's hand would hit it. If you try to like bring it down, you would just like get a fingertip on it, tip it up in the air. The guy's swipe would miss, and then you could go grab the ball. But that was to do that on a pass and then turn it into a layup for yourself was insane.
If there was a 50% of the cap max contract, would anybody other than Jokic deserve it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The top 5 players would probably deserve it easily.
It is currently a weaker top 5 around the league than
other than Jokic, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the general understanding is that the best value contracts in the league are actually max contracts because those players move the needle so much more, offense, defense, or both, depending on the case. So Noel fan asked about the Jokic chips being water polo. I believe I've heard that the Jokic water polo thing is a little bit overstated. That he played kind of for fun. It was never anything that he did at a high level competitiveness. So it might be, but I think it's also just him having unbelievable hands and unbelievable recognition.
Yeah, Corey says I don't think they're missing Rudy. I think they don't trust him. Nah, because I'm talking about plays where he would have a dunk. That's I agree with you when it's like, all right, you throw it to him at the foul line and there's a guy there waiting to help and he has to make a decision. Yeah, I get not throwing it to him there on those though. That's still what's available. Like at some point you have to just trust your teammates because throwing it to someone else, like there's no advantage there, right? Like so. But yeah, like Ant on that drive, you just throw the ball up next to the rim and he's going to crush it. Like he can finish that.
Yeah, for sure. Water polo is an amazing sport. It really is. One of my cousins played 4 years of varsity. I didn't get to go as often because I was doing other stuff myself. But I was always both amazed and horrified by it. And like, I'm a strong swimmer, and I was just like, this is ludicrous. This is lunacy. Like, but just because of like the aggressiveness plus the swimming plus the drowning is remarkable.
Well, and the being drowned.
Yes, and the drowning and the being drowned. Very true.
That's the biggest part of it that I'm not too into.
What have you thought of the Wolves offense so far without Conley? Better than I expected. I mean, some of that is shot making, like they've hit a bunch of threes, but they've been generating some good stuff here.
Yeah, Towns trying to keep that knee loose. Spike's a good way to do that. Jokic gets that free throw, and Denver up by 3. Gobert is back. This is Gobert and Anderson together. This is going to be a tough group to score with. Ant trying to get downhill at Jokic. Lost his footing. Plowed in to the defender. Denver has it. Here's Jackson. Oh, he just blew a tire and went down. And we're going to get a kick ball here going the other way.
Yeah, I don't think that was a trip or anything like that. It was just a kickball. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's Brown guarding Edwards right now. So they're trying to give KCP some breaks. We haven't seen Gordon on Edwards yet at all. So yeah, see, they're trying to go into some screening action here, and they're just bringing a double team over. I thought I heard Jamal Crawford as Anderson just throws it away. I thought I heard Jamal Crawford say that they should just let ISO against whoever's guarding him, and especially if it's not KCP, I tend to agree.
Sure. I mean, what else are you going to get?
Yeah, why bring another guy into the action? Reed picking up Jokic. Jackson in the pick and roll finds Brown along the baseline. He's picked up nicely by Reed, and he then was out of bounds on the end lane. So that's one of the few times in the last couple of games that they've been able to take advantage of the lack of spacing, as Towns is going to get led into the game here. I imagine who's he? Oh, he's going to take out Gobert. Interesting. Did they take out Jokic? Is that why?
Jokic is still on the floor.
Okay. It is interesting they bring Gobert back in. Maybe the staff just wanted to take a look at Towns. Double team quickly. I think Edwards should have just taken that three. Alexander Walker will take it and make it. I mean, that's not really a great shot, but if he's making it, that it certainly is very useful, and Minnesota's tied it at 24. Anderson now is the matchup on Jokic, trying to make his catches difficult. So they're going to a lot of on-ball screening action, and there's Jackson finishing without the rim protection of Gobert in there, and with Anderson also out on the floor, a guard like Jackson able to finish. Ant waves this guy away, goes into two guys, tries to fight it up. That's the play they're not giving you anymore. Jokic gets a block on Anderson, and now they've got transition. Cross court, Jackson, very incisive pass, and Jackson lays it in. What a pass that was from Jokic. Just not a pass you see normally.
Well, and you saw Jackson start breaking to his left as soon as he caught the ball. So he only partially wrong-footed Nickeil Alexander-Walker there, but wrong-footed him enough.
They also get the 2-for-1. It was a great run from Jackson also. Towns trying to back in. Double team comes as he picks up his dribble. He turns in and can't finish, though. Got to finish that one. And Jokic can't believe that there was no foul. It's going to be Minnesota ball. Yeah, a lot of times point guards are so used to getting the ball and getting the outlet that if someone else brings it up, as Watson comes in for defense here to replace Holiday, that if someone else brings the ball up, they actually don't run. But if you're playing with Nikola Jokic, you are going to run. Up here to Towns, goes right at Watson and scores. So that's a tough entry into the game.
But also, they went too early.
That's a good point. Let's see if Denver can get something here. Jackson, good pressure. Oh, there's going to be a foul. Is that a foul to give?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's a nice inbounds pass by Anderson, but maybe not what you want with the chance to get the last shot of the quarter. But with 2.7 left, they do stop it. But I think they're really, again, this is one of those ones where they're way out at half court with 2.7 left. I think you're giving them a chance to set this up and run something now. McDaniels is back in. They try to get it into Jokic. They force him to the backcourt. Oh, don't just let him shoot that. Ooh. And no idea why they didn't just follow him out there with 2.7 left. But Minnesota withstands the first Denver rush, and they only trail by 2 after 1. Touchdown, Iowa 23. Is there anything data-wise that demonstrates Gobert performs better than other defensive centers against Jokic on post-ups? He did, I would say, years ago. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the case any longer. I mean, he still probably makes it more difficult for him than your average center just because he's bigger, and I don't think that he's necessarily, like, that much quicker than Gobert. Gobert is also going to fight him. He's not going to get at least just outworked by Jokic, and he does force Jokic to like shoot his shots a little bit higher. Now Jokic scores against him pretty well one-on-one, but I'm trying to think of who is actually still in the league right now that I would rather have defending a Jokic post-up than Gobert.
Yeah, not entirely sure they have one, and I will caution, as we always do, individual matchup data generally is very noisy. There's a lot of different stuff that can happen there. So when the samples are really small, I don't want to
Yeah,
trust it
so
too
who
much.
is that? I actually was thinking about this the other day. I'm going to try to look it up here while you're talking of like, or not look it up, but see if I can find some good candidates for, best post-up defender. Now, I do think Embiid actually just straight one-on-one in a post-up against Jokic would be pretty good, but they generally try to stay out of that matchup.
They do. Which of the Knicks or Pacers is a better matchup? So we'll say more favorable. Are you so? Which of them would the Celtics want to face? I'm guessing is the way I would phrase it.
Indiana, just because Brunson, if he's healthy, is just like such a problem.
They do have guys that they can throw at Brunson because the multiple good perimeter defenders and Drew Holiday's strength, I think, would be a very interesting dynamic in a series that I now expect to see. But I'm also trying to think about which of them, though, like if Porzingis is limited or not present at the start of that series, I do think the Celtics would rather play the Pacers, though. You kind of either way. And maybe the Knicks get like the possibility that they get Anunoby back in that series, even if I'm more skeptical than the reporting that Chris Haynes had during the broadcast, where they seem to be like, "Oh, he's out for this series, but maybe he'll be back for the next one." I was like, hamstring injuries are tricky.
Yeah, as I'm scrolling through here, I'm not really seeing anyone that I love defending Jokic in the post. I think Draymond Green would be pretty decent there still. Yeah,
Should a
I don't know
team
that he would
sign
shut
one
him
of
down.
Jokic's brothers?
um, yeah, I'd be interested to see how Brook Lopez would fare. Zubats does okay, but of course the other problem is, yeah, you might be able to be decent defending him one-on-one in the post, but then he just goes into the pick and roll game, and then generally post defense is contraindicated for pick and roll defense, and so you're now like that, you're just getting carved up that way.
Yeah, it's a part of why Jokic is an unbelievable offensive force.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have seen prime Marc Gasol against Jokic.
Yes. I mean, prime Kareem would be fun too. Or Hakeem or any of those dudes. I kind of want to see current Hakeem do it too, just for funsies. See what he could pull off.
Gobert, quick ducking is that's what they called, and they're going to get an and one here. Count it.
That was a pretty ineffective grab by Christian Brown there, and Rudy Gobert gets to go to the free throw line. Chance to put them
And
in the
I
lead.
like this process, knowing that Jokic is out of the game. They're going to be switching everything, so just get Gobert screening off the ball on their least stout defender and duck him right into the charge circle. That was a nice play. And Gobert can't get that. But Gobert did tie it at 28. And it is Ant back on Murray. So has Ant sat yet at all? Maybe the idea is get him off to a good start here in the second, and you can get him a little bit. Ant kind of holding Murray a little. He's getting pretty physical with him. Murray backs all the way out. They want to set the screen high, let him get downhill. Ant apparates to the other side of the screen, and great defense there by Anthony Edwards. The best defenders can go under and still not lose contact. That's what Edwards did that time, especially when they set it that high. Here's Gobert again. This is too far out, and he just knocks Holiday out of the way again.
And Gobert not extending his elbow there. Oh, and there's the tech.
Well, and that's the same thing that had Malone hot in game 2, the not uncalled offensive foul. He's saying he elbowed him. Let's see if we agree. Nah.
No.
Nah.
Too small.
I mean, he gets it under the ribs a little bit, but generally, if you have two hands on the ball, you're probably not going to get called
And
for an
like
offensive
Gobert
foul.
didn't extend that too far outside of his body either. Like I don't like referees giving the JJ Barea bonus at times where it's like you're just too small a dude for that circumstance, and so you get drawn offensive foul.
Well, the other thing too is that the baseline official didn't really have the angle to see that elbow.
True.
So if you don't see it, you shouldn't call it, even if the guy falls down. Here's Brown on the drive. He tries to finish, and maybe a push in the back there. Maybe
It
that's a
looked
little
clean up
makeup
top.
call for Michael Malone. Yeah, where did that take place? I couldn't. I rewatched it live just now. Didn't see anything really in terms of contact. Brown misses the first free throw. Minnesota is a nice solid start to this one. They've kept Edwards on the floor. Of course, it was that devastating 18-4 run at the end of the first, beginning of the second that really broke open game 4, and Minnesota never truly got back into contact. Edwards picks up his dribble, gets a cut on Anderson. Good defense there by Gordon, helping behind the play. Yeah, they had Gobert open again. They missed him again. They should have just lobbed it up, and now they're going to get an offensive foul.
Yeah, that was Jamal Murray reading. Was that Jamal or was that Aaron Gordon reading the play and just standing in?
Yeah, Gordon made multiple big help plays there,
It's AJ.
and that's close. That is very close to not being in his path because he doesn't really change his path to me.
And that's Naz Reid's third foul.
Wow.
I don't think you need to pull him though with a third foul. You're not intending to close the game with him.
Yeah. Yeah, Edwards continuing to guard Jamal Murray. Gordon gets Gobert in the air. Gobert had that comment about, well, if he turns into Kobe, we'll just deal with it. But then he guarded pretty well. And then he guarded Murray pretty well, but nobody boxed out even remotely decently. And Gordon comes in to clean it up. It always feels like in these minutes with Jokic off the floor, Denver finds a way. And each one of these buckets is just such a deflator. Quick double team to get him out of that matchup. Weak side, Holiday. Towns going to come across the lane. No foul.
Good help by MPJ there.
And nice job by Anderson getting back, but the pass went behind him. Now it's picked up by Edwards. He's got Holiday waiting downhill. He tries to slow down, and great job by Christian Brown hustling back to block that one.
It was Brown who threw that terrible pass, right? I can't remember exactly who that was.
Yeah, no box out there by Ant, Towns, or Anderson.
Oh, I think it was, yeah, somebody said it. I looked at the log. It was Holiday who threw the pass.
Towns trying to get inside on Holiday. They're looking to go after Justin Holiday right under the basket. Here's a drive by McDaniels.
That's a charge.
Oh, man.
And
it looked again like he might have stepped around him, but I will say this. Denver has gotten every single call since that Malone technical.
Again, not really straight in the chest, a little bit to the side there.
Yeah.
And
I want to see the overhead view on that one.
Christian Brown, that hustling back contest, they scored 0 points on that possession.
Towns is on Brown. Oh, they should have closed out short to him. Towns did do well to stay in front of him. Now Towns has to get up there again. Murray splits it, goes in on Gobert, and Gobert stopped him easily. 2 on 3. Good job by Denver getting back. Now it's 4 on 3. Towns goes in on Gordon.
That's another one.
Another charge. I mean, at this point, Mike Nori probably doesn't feel empowered to get a technical. Nah, that one he's not there that time.
And the Wolves have already used one challenge. So they have a second to use because they want it. But burning both of them this early would be hard.
Yeah, maybe. Have they taken it in their chest yet on any of these charges?
To me, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's 3 charges. That's insane in what is that, like 5 possessions?
It might have even been 4.
Yeah. As I looked at the replay, I could see it a little bit more because once you get your foot set, you are allowed to quote unquote firm up, and his foot is where it needed to be before he starts his upward motion. So here's McDaniels, tough fadeaway. Gobert tries to keep it alive, but he can't.
And this is only a 5-3 quarter so far.
Here's a 3 in transition, Porter Jr. Gordon goes over the back of Alexander Walker legally, and now he's going to back him down. They're going to bring help here. Gobert comes over. Oh, strip from behind. Gordon had to slow down because he felt Gobert, and that enabled Alexander Walker to knock it away. Here's Anderson across the lane. He throws it away. Terrible pass. And now Braun goes into Alexander Walker. Alexander Walker got a hand on it again. What defense that was. And Alexander Walker puts his hand up. These are the first minutes without Ant on the floor. They haven't scored a field goal in some time. Gobert trying to duck in on Murray. Double team comes. Kick out. No spacing. Towns will take it anyway. Gobert inside position. Nice tip away there by Porter Jr. Everyone is exhausted here right now. It's been frantic. But they'll take the 3. No, closed out by Anderson. Underneath. Yeah, this is just everyone exhausted. Gobert forcing plays to go back outside, and now it's Gordon on the floor, and they're going to give a jump ball here. It's a little speculative to me since Towns is like directly behind his back.
Yeah, it's been some phenomenal defense in these last couple minutes, but yes, Edwards is out too, but for Denver, the Jokic minutes only being 5-3 in favor of the Wolves. Like, they'll take that every time. Yeah, straight up behind him, I'm generally not going to give deference there to make that a jump ball. Foul situation right now, Reed with 3, Towns with 2, Gordon with 2, Holiday with 2.
Yeah, 3rd on Towns could be a problem. I would just come back with Reed in that situation, I think.
Sure. Oh, you wouldn't trust Karl-Anthony Towns to play with foul trouble? And
Yeah,
Jokic is back on the floor.
Yeah, you got a pretty decent rest by playoff standards. And Edwards is back too. And Denver is going to get a delay a game here with Braun kind of messing around with Edwards. And Towns does win it. Nice job. Into the post, Edwards are going to double team. There have been so many double teams here that Minnesota has not been able to beat. Here's Morris. Goes to a mid-ranger, and he drains it. The steadiness of the veteran Monte Morris never turns it over. Obviously, began his career on a 2-way in Denver. Gobert was telling Towns to get through the screen. He didn't, so he had to pick up Jokic. Now the Murray-Jokic pick and roll. Murray across the lane. Late switch picked up by Gobert. Good duck in. Yes. Yes. That is so good right there. You thought that Murray was going to maybe try Gobert. Instead, he sees Jokic duck in on Edwards and throws a great pass to those perfect soft hands. Yeah, see, the Towns has not been spacing out far enough to me on those plays. They shouldn't allow Braun to double team and get back to Towns. That time the pass was too slow, but they still get this open 3. Rebound, nope, Gobert cannot grab it. And here's Gordon. He out-hustled everybody. He'll go in and dunk it.
And that is a Denver lead. And Minnesota, they've had parts of this where they played well. Wow, 22 points in the paint. I'll pull up their shot chart for the next break.
Towns tries to power in again. Almost threw it away. They go after Jokic and can't get past him. Can't get off the ball. Underneath, almost threw it away, and they only have 4.1 to shoot now.
Yeah, that got deflected, I believe, by Jokic on its way out. So we could get into the shot charts. I mean, so for Denver is 9 for 11 inside the restricted area, and not rest of team, but rest of court. They are 5 of 19, but they've been able to use that enough, and then they've gotten a couple of free throws that they've been able to hold pace.
What have the Nuggets been doing with their double teams against Ant? Nothing particularly special, honestly. It's just been
Yeah.
double from one pass away and then rotate over. And they've done a decent job of it. I think like part of the problem has been Towns not like spacing out quite far enough. Also, just the passes, like the pass needs to be like a heater. It needs to be, not a duck, not something where you got to move. Like Denver is going to be closing really fast on these plays. And like that last one was a perfect example where Towns finally swung it to Morris for the three, but he should have had the shot. He's their best shooter, and the pass just was a little bit off target. So the overall passing from the Wolves, particularly without Conley, I think has just been lacking.
Colin said it feels like the Nuggets should be up 8 to 10, and they're shooting 3 of 11 on jump shots. If that goes even partially decently, then it probably feels a little bit differently. And I think Denver's had the run of play so far, and the the possession game is slightly to their advantage, not significantly so, but like it's I would say that if there's regression to the mean that's going to happen, Minnesota shooting 5 of 11 from three on I would say harder than average looks, and Denver shooting 2 of 8. That's an easy one there. So I think it's advantage Denver right now.
What plays would I be running for Ant right now? I'm setting my screens very high up on the floor with Jokic's man, certainly. Um, I do kind of like just like those post ups and back downs, and then like those to me maybe you've got a few more passing angles inside the arc. But he's not an amazing passer, and they're not playing generally with great spacing if they're going to have Gobert and maybe an Anderson on the floor as well. But the Nuggets are certainly very focused on getting the ball out of Edwards' hands, and that's why he only has 5 shot attempts. He's 1 of 5 from the field.
And I think that's good process from Denver when you consider who Minnesota has on the floor. I don't think that the Wolves have had like unreasonably good looks outside of that. They've gotten some things downhill, but not completely ridiculous. And they're shooting well from three, but I don't think it's attributable solely to that. So this is going to be a big kind of remaining 6 minutes for the second quarter. Jokic back on the floor. He should be out there for the remainder. And nobody really in foul trouble right now. That could, of course, change over the next 6 minutes, but a couple guys with two, and then Reed, who doesn't start or close, with three.
Feels like the Nuggets have made great adjustments throughout the series on defense. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing. That's even more so than their. Well, I think just all the overall toughness they're playing with is the biggest adjustment. Here's Towns going to a nice floater, and that was well done. Oh, they throw it ahead to Brown. Can they get back in time? Oh, that is such a killer to give that up off a made bucket. They took it from the baseline and nobody got back. Great streak by Brown, and of course the best Jokic with the pass. So they've got Jackson on Towns. Gobert's pointing over there. They want to duck in Towns on Jackson. No double team. Towns just shoots over him and ribs it in. 2 straight buckets for Karl-Anthony Towns.
And Towns has used the Denver point guards as ball racks a few times in this series. Mostly it's been Jamal Murray, but that's what you should do there.
Yeah, Murray getting a break right now. And Jokic is going to pick up a cheapie on Towns.
And that's his third. Nothing like Karl-Anthony Towns getting himself in foul trouble.
After he had just scored 2 buckets. So they're going to come with Reed here. Or they're going to go small. Let's see it here.
I don't think they needed to call that at all. But that was a blatant push up by Jokic.
And Jokic lost it. Anderson pulled the chair on him. You don't see that happen to Jokic often. Well short by KCP. Nuggets shot making has not been there to the same extent as it was in games 3 and 4. Ant strings him out, but you see they also gave Nail help in addition to putting 2 on the ball. Here's Gobert back out to Ant. Good movement. Eludes Jokic, fires off the window. Rare that you see him miss those. Here's more transition. They've got a nice advantage here. Jokic posting up. Morris trying to front him. Oh, yeah, that's the right pass. Foul. Count it by Brown. That all happens because Jokic posts up. Morris is trying to front him. McDaniels is trying to help, and Brown fills the lane. Great pass to find him by Gordon. Yeah, see, McDaniels comes over to help, and then he can't get back in time.
And that's a second on McDaniels, so that in and of itself, not as significant. But Christian Brown, he's had some nice little stretches here. And I do not like Chris Finch going with Kyle Anderson instead of Naz Reid here. I think you need Naz Reid on the floor. Their offense is just too limited.
Yeah, they're going to set up a little Spain-type pick and roll here. Morris tries to get out of there. Nice strip by the Nuggets. Was that Jokic who got him?
It was Jokic.
Jackson going to lob it up. Gobert is there to help. Jokic finds Gordon, and Gordon snuck along the baseline, got between Gobert.
Aaron Gordon did a great thing there. He knew Rudy Gobert's attention was going to be diverted, and so he just timed that beautifully.
Yeah, and he was off the ground before Gobert could react. McDaniels passing on the shot, going to try to go one-on-one at their best defender, and extremely lucky not to throw it away. Here's Morris. He floats it up, and he scores. That's a tough one there. They tried to pressure after the turnover. Sometimes you almost get a steal. You pressure up too much, and Morris just blew by. Nice play there. Back down by Jokic. That's the right pass. Brown is open. Can't get it. Yeah, they rotated everyone over. Gobert came over. The bronze man came over to take Gordon. Here's Ant's three. Well, short. Gobert got it stripped. More fast break. Brown has been devastating in transition.
And his energy level, he brought real value add for them. We wondered who was going to step up, and right now it's been Christian Brown.
Yeah, and Gobert just has not been reliable enough as a finisher. They've started bothering him with the hands. He's missed a couple of free throws.
So Jokic's night so far, 14 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 4 of 5 from the line, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. This has been a generally low turnover series, but Minnesota now, they have 8. That is 19% of their possessions. So that's not great for them.
Yeah, and Edwards is 1 out of 8. He's starting to maybe press a little bit, although, to be fair, he was hitting some of these same shots. Minnesota, 3 of 7 at the rim, further 3 of 8 upper paint. Their jump shooting has been pretty decent. That's the only thing keeping them mildly in the game at this point.
Yeah, I mean, their jump shooting, they're 9 of 18 on jump shots overall, 2 and 3 combined.
And 6 of 15 in the paint.
Oof. The lesson? Just take more jump shots. No, not really. Why doesn't Gobert keep the ball above his chest around the rim? Nate, you've explained this before, that that's actually really hard, correct? Like just
well, it's hard when the pass or the rebound doesn't come in high.
Sure.
Right? And once you've got your hands above your head, like, it's really hard to actually jump in that position. So unless you're right by the basket, that doesn't really work. And I mean, Gobert, that pass was at his waist that he caught there. So now should you just be stronger, keep it closer to your body, be able to fight it up? But there's generally just a feel for it too, of like when guys are going to try to reach in, you move the ball so they hit your arm instead. It's just like it's a feel thing a lot. He just doesn't have a great feel for offensive basketball. He doesn't have great hands. He doesn't have great touch. And he's worked very hard on that. He's better than he used to be, but I think for most guys, there's only so far you can go.
Let's see. What chance does the losing team of today's game come back to win the series? It's gonna be on the low side, especially if it's Minnesota, because they would have to then face a home game 7. Um, it I don't want to give an exact number, but I mean, I think it's
Sorry, what was the question?
chances of the losing team of this game winning the series.
Yeah, actually, it's still relatively high for Denver. This is one that we talked about a lot, that teams that lose
Game
game
5 with a
6,
home game 7.
lose game 5 at home actually have a pretty decent record. I think like 50% of them or something actually win game 6 in that circumstance. Trying to get Alexander Walker run. This is the same play they would run with Conley with Gobert, and we're going to get a reach in here. Caldwell Pope is saying review it.
I think KCP got ball. I would not challenge this.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing a very good job at digging in, but yeah, it's not really worth it at this point. No, you said they're going to do it. Did you see the assistant say it's ball? Do it. Is that like a significant foul number on KCP that I'm missing?
No, that's his second. And the ball just went out of bounds, right?
In terms of like what'll happen if they get it back. Yeah, it'll probably be a jump ball if they get it back, I'm guessing. Let's see it here. Yeah, it looks pretty clean. Even when it comes off the ball, it's going to be on his hand. Yeah, that's pretty clean. Now, there's also, you could say maybe Gordon fouls him simultaneous to that or slightly afterwards. Maybe they transfer the foul to Gordon.
And so we got asked a question earlier about Towns, Reed, and Gobert playing together. It only happened for 48 possessions in the regular season. Most of those were actually Conley McDaniels as the other pairing, plus 33 net rating, but 48 possessions is too little to read anything into.
What do you think of using challenges when it doesn't directly impact the score or possession like this? It does actually. I think because this is gonna be a shooting foul. I mean, I don't know, like, so that's 0.16.
And actually, did Jokic touch that ball?
Well, it's that part is not going to matter, I don't think. I think at that point it's blown dead, and so it's a jump ball if there's no clear recovery either way.
Sure.
Because the whistle is blown at that point, somebody could have grabbed it, or you can't go down that road really.
Have they still not resolved this?
Doesn't appear so. Yeah, I mean, my understanding is like it should be dead at that point if it goes out of bounds. It's only if like the guy shoots it and misses the shot, or maybe if it goes right into Jokic's hands there or something. But if it goes out of bounds, I think they usually jump it. But maybe that my understanding just is wrong. But
these refs got emboldened by the replays in Knicks Pacers, and they're taking their sweet time with this.
Yeah, I mean, look at what they're looking at right now. Yeah. Also, he's driving into 3 guys here too.
Sure.
That's the other thing that should be noted.
Got asked if Towns gets a tough whistle. No, I don't think so. Towns just commits a bunch of fouls.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of his game is just kind of running guys over. Yeah, this is a ridiculous amount of time here.
This is a strong argument in favor of my 30-second policy.
I think I'd be in favor of a 60-second policy. Maybe you could use your second challenge to extend it to a minute 20 if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand why that took
took
so
so
long. We were telling you that 5 minutes ago. Yeah, key last 3 minutes now as we actually start playing some basketball again.
What?
And it's Edwards back on Murray, who is got a nice little rest there. Good screen by Jokic. Oh, that was a great stunt by Morris. He stopped the penetration and he closed out. Now Jokic will fire the three and he makes it
Doesn't
anyway.
matter. Unreal.
He's just the king of those kind of shots where you think it's all bottled up and then he just makes one on you like that. Pin down for Edwards. Try to get it weak side. Just no advantage, really. They've got Gordon now on Edwards. They'll switch it. Edwards gets off the ball. Good movement, but Morris turned it down. Late clock now. Morris will have to fight it up. And Gobert is on the glass. Actually, Jokic grabbed his hand. They don't call it. Anderson passed up that shot. They get it back into Edwards' hands against the scramble. Alexander Walker, quick release three is good.
And that's
Big
Michael
shot
Porter.
there.
Michael Porter Jr. just deactivated off ball. He wasn't doing anything there. That's not even helping without helping. He wasn't helping.
Yeah, he was not. Yeah, he like kind of helps on Anderson's role, but not really. Here's a turnover now, and they
Too
throw it
far
ahead.
for Anderson. Oh, good wingspan.
Oh, not slow-mo. But then they throw it away after that. Oh, what a killer.
Don't throw a big lead pass to Kyle Anderson. He has long arms, but he's not very fast.
Yeah, Alexander Walker, he just tries to go for like a one-handed touch pass. He's got Ant wide open under the rim, and he just missed him. He could have just caught the ball and thrown it to him for a dunk.
Yeah, big mistake.
Alexander Walker trying to bother Porter. Now they get Jokic off the screen. Oh, he did not want to. He had the jumper and he was like, "No, I'm going to try this pass." Now he's going to try Gobert. Works his way in. Tough. Oh, I mean, what the fuck is that? What the fuck do you do with that?
Nothing.
That's
Absolutely nothing.
You can't do. You cannot do. Other than double teaming, there's no way to stop that. Like that's an impossible shot. Nobody else in the league can make that shot. Here's McDaniels. He'll try Jokic. Nice cut by Alexander Walker, who finishes with a lefty floater. He's like, left hand, you got something to make up for me after that pass. You can shoot it again. Backdoor Murray. And Gobert got the stop. Beautiful reaction. Murray's down behind the play. Can they get transition and get it back to a possession before half? And oh man, Alexander Walker, he can't believe that there's no foul call. But
he also traveled.
His body is in between the referee, so the referee couldn't see whether that's a foul or not. In between the ball and the referee. Murray almost walked, gets it back to Jokic. He's going to go in on Gobert. Nice strip there by Morris off of Brown, who's just spacing out to nowhere along the baseline. Here's Murray on the drive. Maybe could have thrown it up. Instead goes for the floater.
And so it is a 6-point lead. Minnesota gets the last shot of the half.
Yeah, what a frenetic first half it's been. Everyone trying to catch their breath for this last 9 seconds. Edwards is going to get fouled on the foul to give.
And that one again, I don't think that served any purpose. It allows them to do more of a sideline out of bounds play.
Yeah, you could put in some defensive subs. That might be worth it. Are they even going to do that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that way. Gordon is on the bench. Here's Edwards. Out of the pick and roll. Rejects the screen. Goes in at past 4 Nuggets. and he can't finish. Gobert gets his hand on another rebound, but can't stab it. And that'll do it for a hard played, jagged, but ultimately enrapturing first half. And we'll be back for the second half in about 13 minutes or so. Hi, sorry about that. That snuck up on me. My voice alarm for 12 minutes didn't work. But, but we're back to work now here. They try to get Cat going off the screening action. He goes in and leaves it short and gets his own offensive rebound. Minnesota striking first here. That was a nice little just screen the screener play for Karl Anthony Towns, and Jokic doesn't want to switch on to him, so they're able to get something out of it. Alexander Walker now has the matchup on Murray. He gets into the lane and got caught in the air, threw it away. Minnesota, can they finally get something in transition? Here's Edwards going at Jokic, and Jokic will pick up the foul. Minnesota really struggled in transition in the first half, had a bunch of turnovers, and Denver was excellent. That was one of the biggest differences, as Jokic does get him on the arm there.
And that is only Jokic's first foul. Reminder of the players in foul trouble: Towns and Naz Reid have 3. No one else has more than 2. So positive start for Minnesota. They got a basket in the first one, forced a turnover on a bad pass, and kick you forward. And transition could be an important benefit for a value add for Minnesota in the second half. Not something that went particularly well in the first half. To clean the glass out is they had a 0 offensive rating in transition. I don't think it's quite that.
Try to get the screen for KCP. Towns has to step out of him. Now Jokic on the short roll. Has plenty of space to fire that up, but actually missed one. And Gobert with a nice box out. Minnesota can tie it here. Edwards. They get him in rotation. Towns eluding Gordon nicely. And he's given Minnesota the lead. 7-0 start for Minnesota all of a sudden. And nice job by Ant. He drew 2, moved the ball. Alexander Walker gets it to their best shooter against a closeout. Now Ant helped too much off of Porter Jr. and Jokic says, I got you, buddy.
And making your best shooter the closest pass, always a dangerous proposition.
Here's Edwards. They're giving a ton of nail help on Edwards. That's what I think he's not seeing quite enough here. Here's a tough fadeaway by McDaniels. McDaniels has been effective driving closeouts on the rare occasions he's even gotten a touch. Porter Jr. trying to work against McDaniels. They get it weak side. And there's another face cut by Jokic behind his head. They're still in defensive position, though. Great defense by the Wolves against an incredible pass. Here's Towns going to his left. Had Gobert, steps around. Now he finds it for the dunk. And Michael Malone needs to talk about it. What a start to the half by the Minnesota Timberwolves. 9-2 to surge back in front. 9-3, excuse me.
And yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of transition. Feedback loops can be important in the series. That was a huge part of the game 2 story for Minnesota. Stops can lead to scores and a couple of turnovers there. And it looks a lot better when your guys can get downhill with an advantage and the help isn't there or anything like that. So Minnesota, hopefully they can build off this and have another nice little stretch, but it's hard to do that against Denver because generally you don't get enough stops to create said feedback loops.
Is the assistant coach with an iPad who's expert at deciding whether to challenge or not a job that each team has? Yes. Like one of the video guys in that second row, his job is just to watch the iPad and come to a decision. So that guy really has to know the rules pretty well. I wouldn't want to be that guy, particularly in these playoffs. That's for sure.
No.
And sometimes, it's a combination of that, trusting your players. Because generally, that guy's not going to get a replay. And that's why it's important on the floor, too. Jokic is the best at this. At just slowing it down, tying his shoe, kind of trip over the ball a little bit. Let there be time for a replay so you know whether to challenge or not.
And the margin for error is tough on that, and they remember every mistake, especially. So that can be a stressful part of that. Thoughts on this only being a 2-point game? I think that was when it was Denver ahead by 2. So this stretch has been notably pro Minnesota. I do think that overall in the contest, Denver has had the run of play. They've been worse as a jump shooting team than Minnesota has been. I expect that to kind of regress to the mean for both teams. But I mean, Minnesota, they've been playing pretty well overall on. They've been playing well on defense, I would say overall, and they've been playing pretty well on offense.
Conley availability for Game 6, I don't feel great about it. Same as you, Al, because especially when it was like an acute thing that he did to it, as opposed to just like generally kind of accumulated soreness. And so the next game after travel is on Thursday, so it's not like you get another big break in this series. It could happen. You never know what. Like if he was like working out before the game and trying to give it a go. That's one thing. I didn't get the impression that was the case tonight, although maybe I would have missed it. Some of the questions are on the YouTube stream as well, so we're doing for both YouTube and playback.
Yes.
Is soreness a swelling thing or pain tolerance? I mean, generally, it's just a case of like the Achilles. If you ever try to deal with that, it's very weird because you just like can't push off hard enough with that leg, and that's kind of a problem. And then that's also something where you can get compensation injuries very easily, and then also there's a concern that you could hurt it worse.
Sure. So Bulldog is saying that Conley was shooting pregame. That's a good thing, and he was ruled out, I believe, fairly close to game time. So that is also a positive. But
now shooting is one thing. Like going through a real warm up, moving for real, like that's. If I had seen it actually happen, I could have had a better understanding. I mean, it could all have just been gamesmanship too, but you never know. I mean, maybe he could do better. As now Ant is on Murray. They've gone with a bunch of different guys on Murray here, trying to switch up the matchups, especially after timeouts, so it can mess up their play calling. Here's Jokic. Towns gets through it. Jokic gets past him. Here's Gordon. He tried for the reverse dunk and got rejected by Gobert. Now he has to take the impossible shot, and he's going to get the rebound somehow. Gobert couldn't get back in the play. 10 to shoot now. Gordon going to work on Towns with the 3 fouls. Left it short, but off the ground again. 2 offensive rebounds for Aaron Gordon on that possession.
And Karl-Anthony Towns, it seems like part of why he's being tentative is that he doesn't want to pick up that 4th.
Yeah, but there's no reason to be tentative going for the rebound. Aaron Gordon, though, is just a faster, quick pop athlete. Gobert going to go one-on-one against Jokic? Seriously? He actually just got Alexander Walker an open shot. That was an overhelp, but they miss it. Here's Jokic again. He's got KCP. Now Jokic will play that game near the top of the key. Double screening action. And Gobert did a nice job helping on those back screens, so they got to get into the open side pick and roll. Murray downhill. And he's able to finish. Nice job there slowing down with Gobert guarding Jokic. He did not want to overhelp, and Murray was able to get to the corner of the backboard. Now Alexander Walker gets to his spot. Easy one, but Jokic. It's so funny. Jokic has this ability to just kind of stick his hand out there briefly and fool guys. And now Gordon's going to get a transition dunk.
And that was a great example for Jokic of something I talk about all the time, where you try to get the defender to commit, and there McDaniels was too low, and so he couldn't get out to Gordon in time.
Edwards has been quiet in the half court. He goes off the rescreen, snakes it, but runs right into the path of Gobert. Not great chemistry there. But then Towns with a nice twisting drive with the left hand. That's where he's gotten a lot better. He still seems to be laboring a bit with that knee. Towns tried to draw a foul, and then he just gave up an open 3. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And Alexander Walker is like, come on, man.
They're never going to call that screening foul. They're not calling any of the other ones.
No. That's the danger of getting too involved with the referees. But now they get a little Spain pick and roll. Alexander Walker's missed a couple open ones. Uh-oh.
What the hell was that? I don't think that ball ever... I think that might have just been fingertips. I want to see this again. I don't think he ever got that in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, so this is actually on Edwards. After he throws the pass, it's not the shooter's job to get back there. Edwards just started walking, and Murray leaked out. That's not Alexander Walker's responsibility. That's the other guard's responsibility to get back, and Edwards didn't do that.
And so after that nice 11-3 run in favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're now down 14-13 in this quarter. That is, I believe that is, that is an 11-2 run back in favor of the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, catch up on a few interesting stats. Minnesota, a little better shooting in the paint, but still only 6 of 13 at the rim. Their three-point shooting has cooled off, and Denver is 17 of 23 at the rim. Haven't taken many three-pointers. They've only taken 12 in the game. And then Jokic's stat line, Danny, is ridiculous right now, as it was in the first half.
19 points, 4 rebounds, 13 assists, 0 turnovers. Unbelievable. And
yeah. And actually, to clarify, they threw that long pass, so I kind of got off of the point. Jokic, his arms are so long, like he really, when guys like shoot jumpers or try to shoot layups against him, just by like reaching in, even when he's too far away, that distracts guys a lot. You see guys just miss layups or miss jumpers a lot when he's just like kind of there and it looks like he's about to slap down and knock it away. He does have a 7'3" wingspan. And so he bothers guys with that move. Like Alexander Walker was like way short on that jumper, even though Jokic was not really in position.
this is probably more a question for Nate than for me, but is from Ben. Is Jokic just the best passer of all time? I didn't watch as much Magic Johnson as other people did. I still think it's Magic from what I saw, but he's in the conversation to me.
Yeah, it's his job in some ways is a little bit easier as a center because you're making more passes when you're without pressure on you on the perimeter. You don't have to worry as much about creating the opening because you're below where the screening action is occurring. It's much easier to throw back doors from there. And he doesn't, although he still is pretty good at it, he doesn't have to make as many decisions on the move. He doesn't have to worry like a perimeter guy does about beating his man first a lot of times, getting into the lane, and then making the pass. But, I mean, he certainly is up there. It's really impressive. But, I mean, I probably would still have to go with Magic. Like, Magic to me, like, there are a lot of guys who have been great passers and heliocentric guys in this era. Magic just was so far beyond what anyone had been before him that I would have to say him. And Steve Nash is in that conversation too. Towns off the screen. Nice. Yes, that was a beautiful 4-5 pick and roll. The fact that they don't want to switch any screens between Towns and Gobert is something they've gotten nice action out of a couple of times here. That was a good look by Towns. Finally, they do find Gobert on those. Going to try to get KCP going here. Alexander Walker not letting him come off the screen. So Jokic will just set it for Murray. Towns too late, and that's his fourth. Just got to get there faster. Carly, that one of the biggest things you look at.
They bailed him out. They called that on Ant.
Oh, did they? Okay. Yeah, it did seem like a little soft there. Thanks for that clarification.
And that's only Anthony Edwards' first foul.
Yeah, that time the Nuggets chance to run a 5-4 pick and roll. Jokic goes to the moves. I mean, what the fuck?
There's nothing.
Like, do you see how I mean, like, that's when I say Gobert actually does a good job. Like, he doesn't have to shoot it that high. Like, he's throwing that from his waist. He almost never shoots that shot. Like, off the top of the backboard, and it just drops it. It's just unbelievable touch. He had to make 3 moves. Here's McDaniels now. He's going to go around Jokic and can't finish. Gets it right back, though, and he'll put it down. KCP. Now he's going to, the face cut. I knew that shit was coming. You knew it was coming. Like he's not, you got to know, as Karl-Anthony Towns there, he's not looking to run a pick and roll with KCP again. You know, and if it is KCP, you just got to deal with it. The whole scheme is you stick to Jokic. Now it's Edwards. He goes right into Porter Jr., who is not in good position and has the arm forward pick up the foul. look, do you see how close he came to blocking that?
Anyway, yeah.
It's just a ridiculous shot.
I mean, there's nothing you can do here. And now, congratulations, you're going to try to do it without Rudy Gobert on the floor for another 5:37 or so.
Yeah, I imagine Gobert will be back before the end of the quarter.
So I don't think Jokic needs to bring the ball up in these situations where it's off a dead
Well, that's
ball.
the play they're running. They wanted to set up a back screen for him and get him deep post position. As soon as I mean, that's a beautiful play. The whole point of that is to get him deep post position. As soon as Gobert goes out of the game, they know they had that play set up for the moment Gobert went out of the game to set him a back screen and post him up on Naz Reid. And it was going to be a no offensive foul. Wow, that's surprising to me. I thought KCP was kind of just holding him a little bit there.
And that's Jaden McDaniels' third. McDaniels put his arms out. It's a bad call, but McDaniels put his arms out. I think the refs could see that from his angle before everything happened. I'm not defending it. It's a bad call. That's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, maybe McDaniels has his hands on him. There's a different angle that shows it more. Same play they just ran. Now he's going to go the other direction. Reid switching on to Jokic. Handoff. Murray getting down here. He's going to go right to the basket. They grab him from behind.
And that grab was that McDaniels? I think that was McDaniels' fourth. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, now that was such an atrocious call on the other end, though. Like, he's not even close to in front of him. And we're supposed to be getting freedom of movement for these guys anyway. Yeah, that's an obvious foul by McDaniels. And they may even take a look at this as a flagrant. Now, yeah, because he does. I think maybe he realized he was about to smash into him from behind and just tried to grab him and hold him up there. Maybe that wasn't as intentional as it appeared live.
Yeah. And as Bulldog has noted, contact. And I broadly agree with this, Denver has gotten a lot of calls since that Malone tech in the first half.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
That said, Denver has taken fewer free throws than Minnesota overall in this game. It's 12 Minnesota, 10 Denver. But
Danny, do you remember as Murray now is trying to heat up the ball and he's going to get a foul on McDaniels, which is just like, how is that's he's saying it to Murray. Okay, come on, let's go. I thought he was clapping in the referee's face. I was like, that should be a technical.
Oh, that's.
I mean, what?
That's nonsense.
Yeah, it's just a weak call. Yeah, they've got Jokic now on McDaniels. He's going to have to pick up Reid. Reid going at Jokic and can't get it over him. Good help late from Murray. Made him pick it up a little earlier than he wanted. Here's Gordon coming downhill. Kicks out, passes too low for Murray, but he's still on the ball. Going to run it with Jokic against two big guys. Murray in the air, gets Jokic underneath, and Reid clubs Gordon. That actually was one of the few times I thought Jokic took an extra second to make a pass, and it was a little low, too. I think that should probably have been an alley-oop. Maybe Reid would have knocked it away, though, if he went that route. Yes, he actually did. I mean, this is not me being critical of it. It's still a good pass, but I expected that to be out of his hands like the moment it touched it.
Like that little touch pass over the head type of stuff.
Well, they are starting to embarrass this Wolves defense with Gobert out of the game. And Reid's going to sit down. I think this is probably going to be either Gobert or Anderson coming in because they are just getting whatever the hell they want.
Well, and that's Naz Reid's fourth as well. But I don't think
whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, you don't need to worry about Naz Reid foul trouble when he's not closing the game.
Anderson looking to interact with Edwards, who's been quiet this whole game. See, like right there, Edwards is going into three guys, and he takes a tough fadeaway. What he's not understanding right now is just how much gapping help is being given. So you got to do one of two things. Either pass it early as the guy is moving over towards you, or make that guy really guard you. instead of just kind of standing there and gapping. Like, go harder, like, because it's like, oh, I see these guys here, I can't go anywhere. No, go into that gap with the intention of making a pass once he comes over there. Here's Jokic. Watch out.
And they call that on, I believe that was, that's Gobert. Okay, so that's Gobert's second. For a second, I saw the 2 and thought it was Towns' fourth, but it was not. And this is another, like, they're kind of responding, another limited shooting lineup for Minnesota because they're playing Ant, Morris, Towns, Gobert, and Kyle Anderson together. So not a lot of real estate for Anthony Edwards to move here.
Yeah, I thought Morris did some nice things for them, settling them down, being reliable in the first half.
I agree with that, but I also don't think that you should have him and Anderson on the floor together. I think that you have to have somebody that they'll.
I think they want Anderson out there for his defense, but yeah, Anderson at the 3 is a little bit tough. But Minnesota's problem again is they can't score now again. Nice backdoor by Ant, but yeah, he should have gone faster. There it is. Blows right to the rim. As soon as Murray stepped up, that was actually good defense to take away the backdoor, but Ant, with his first chance he's had to make a quick decision and just use that first step. They've been making him think a lot. Gordon finally misses a 3. It is interesting that that's the first one he's had to take in this game, isn't it?
It's a sign of the health of Denver's offense that they haven't needed it.
Yeah, they're going after Murray and pick and roll. Ant, again, a little bit too slow. Like, just no advantage gained out of that double team. Now he's going to attack Jokic. Oh, I thought he went off of his path there. They're going to count this.
Denver should challenge this call.
What number is that on Ant? Yeah, this is an offensive foul. He jumps sideways here. Watch this. Oh, actually, they're not going to show it. I just saw it on my other TV. Yeah, here we go. This is it. Yeah, you see, whenever the guy gets his right leg way out like that, you know he's jumping sideways into him. And that's an and one, too. Yeah, the way they're calling it now, if you jump out of your path, but no challenge forthcoming from Denver. But it is interesting that they would challenge that one in the first half and not challenge that one. But that would be their last one, of course. Here's Gordon, free throw line. Not close. Edwards now picked up by Gordon. They force him towards the sideline, and he just shoots the 3, but he's been short on a lot of these. They go to the 4-5 pick and roll. Gordon finding Jokic. Didn't even have to jump off the ground.
Left-handed scoop. Unreal.
One of the things I, of course, completely misevaluated Jokic, as did everyone else at the Hoop Summit back in 2014, which was the first one I ever went to. But yeah, I'll tell that story next stoppage. But here's Morris off the double team. Goes right in. Good little Gortat screen there by Rudy Gobert. And we'll get a timeout. So to finish that discussion, the one thing that did stand out to me, because they'll run a lot of these like one-on-one post drills with the bigs and stuff, was, and Karl-Anthony Towns, interestingly enough, was actually at that Hoop Summit. So was Clint Capella. So it's a pretty fucking talented world team in that Hoop Summit. But one of the things that stood out with me is whenever Jokic got up against a smaller player, he was just going to score in the post, like, because his feel for where the guy was leaning and when to spin off of him and get his shot off or spin along the baseline and get himself in a position was elite, even at that point. And that's like, when I talk about certain guys having a feel for post play, like, I just don't think some guys are ever going to get it as post up guys. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Karl-Anthony Towns really, I think, kind of struggles with that a little bit of just like Jokic. If you try to be like, okay, I'm going to keep him from going this way, right, to his good shoulder, he'll just feel that pressure, get you, and he's so big, too, you got to, like, really lean on him to prevent him from getting there. And so then, if you try to do that, he'll just take that pressure. It's almost like jiu-jitsu, move out of the way on the spin move, get you leaning forward, and then he's got you. I mean, yeah, this is the compilation of his ridiculous shots over Gobert. That one was insane. Obviously, against Reed, that Reed is complete meat in that matchup. And then that last one where he got that deep post position, that was really just a beautiful 4-5 pick and roll, totally improvised in transition. Anderson trying to prevent Jokic, so he spins off of him, goes in, and one. This guy's unbelievable, man. He's just one of the all-time greats. This is just incredibly inspiring performance.
Minnesota, broadly speaking, this possession was a little bit different than that, is defending Jokic well, if not very well, and he is just crushing them.
Yeah, I mean, like he's being guarded there by a guy like who guards wings. Like Kyle Anderson has guarded guys like KD in his career, and he's a really difficult guy to dribble against, gets a lot of steals. And this is a 7-footer who's incredibly slow, just baits him into going for the steal, spins around. That was the exact thing I was just talking about too, where he could just time his spin for exactly when you're leaning the other way. And then he finishes over two guys for the and one at the basket, jumping 2 inches in the air. Here's Morris now switched on to. They tried to go to that 5-4 screening action, but good job by Caldwell Pope getting through that. Now it's Towns going to the 1-foot fadeaway. That's well short. And there's an example. Gobert finally gets it back, and he does finish it. So I was going to say that's an example of how he gets his hand on so many balls and never gets them. But fortunately, the ball got saved right back to him. Here's Jackson. Brown along the baseline. Almost suckered Gobert into leaving, but had to pick it up. Now Jokic.
Good scram
back down here on Anderson. Goes right past him again. And Gobert just plows into him.
And that is Gobert's third foul, so he joins Towns. But A, 3 is not 4, and B, you don't worry about Gobert in foul trouble the same way.
Yeah. We've seen a number of plays in which Jokic, again, not exactly the fastest guy in the world, and he might have got elbowed in the face pretty good there. But, yeah.
Elbowed in the face and probably somehow scratched on the arm, too, because he has a million of those every game.
We've seen a number of plays. And it's hard to see it on TV how wide that NBA lane really is. This gives you a good look at it. For most of us who have played basketball, we're used to that 12-foot wide lane if you're playing pickup or in high school or even in college. Yeah, this lane is 16 feet wide. Thank you, Will Chamberlain, for that. And if you're 2.9ing, like you have to go 8 feet just to get to the rim, not to mention being in help position where you're even, in theory, trying to trap the box outside the lane. That's really hard to get there. And so even someone like Jokic, if he's able to just release that quickly on a blow-by, it's hard to get over there, even for someone like Gobert. You saw it that time. You saw it on the one where Anderson reached earlier, that you can't give up just a direct straight line drive like that all of a sudden when guys just can't be waiting in the lane already. Double team on Towns. He bowling balls a pass out to Morris. Morris gets it back against Jokic. Jokic staying with him. 2 ex-teammates. Morris takes it, left it well short. Now Jokic's going to post up deep here. Or Gordon
should have passed it to him.
And it's actually going to be off Jokic's foot. Nice pressure there by Alexander Walker because, as you noted, it was certainly a disadvantaged matchup. We couldn't see what was going on exactly, but that was a great work by him in a disadvantaged matchup. Towns, they get the switch of him on Braun. He's going to try to go baseline against the double team, and that's just foolhardy. Like he didn't have it. He's turning blind. He has no idea what he's turning into. Denver looking for the 2-for-1 here, up by 11. Jackson waves away. Now he wants Jackson to set a screen. They're making it really difficult to get in position. Here's Jokic, bludgeons his way to the hoop again, and that goes in. Woo! Third foul of the quarter on Gobert. And this guy has just been an absolute wrecking ball tonight.
I wrote in my notes for Game 4. I wrote Jokic burninating the peasants, which is a reference that some of you will get and some of you will not. This has been so much more ridiculous than that was.
34 points, looking for 35, 12 assists, 8 of 9 from the foul line, plus 16.
Best player in the world, no tears, no nothing, just him.
Towns tried to release Gobert to the basket, and Holiday did not get in front of him. Easy layup that time for Rudy Gobert. What are they going to do here for the last possession? They've got Anderson on Jokic. Surely it'll end up in the big man's hands. Here's Jackson getting downhill, and he floats it in. They stuck to Jokic in the pick and roll. That released him. Nobody stepped up in time on Jackson's floater, but there's still time for Minnesota coming back. Here's Morris into the corner. Anderson closed out nicely, and slow-mo, a little too slow on the shot there. Did not recognize the time. So a banner third quarter in the end for the Denver Nuggets. Minnesota actually surged to take the lead, and Nikola Jokic made sure that was quite short-lived.
Jokic's third quarter line, 16 points on 6 of 7 from the field, 4 of 4 from the line, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 0 turnovers because that one wasn't assigned to him. It's incredible. I mean, for Bricklarity, Joe, do you think we'll look back on Jokic's career and say he was the greatest offensive player of all time? I think that the argument to be made with Jokic, best offensive player of all time, is a hard case because so many of the different arguments are there. I think the one that is persuasive to me, both in terms of that overall argument but in terms of just everything, is that Jokic has the fewest weaknesses of any offensive player in the history of basketball. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's the best, but that is an element that the best would have.
What was LeBron James' weakness? Shooting?
Yeah.
What was MJ's weakness?
I mean, well, the game was different then, but I mean, the 3-point volume and success.
Yeah, I think.
But it's
I don't know whether he would have. But I mean, like jump shooter, he was very good at jump.
Very good jump shooter. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't necessarily something that was like required from his position at the time.
And like for Steph, I think it's that that like kind of the late game. I mean, he's been a great clutch player, but like the kind of last second shots that he couldn't really take.
Well, so you're talking about offensive weaknesses only here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's got to be up. I mean, Steve Nash was. I mean, maybe you could say he wasn't like a great ISO player. Maybe that would be his weakness.
Well, and like you could say kind of like I mean, not that he needed it to be successful, but like wasn't as physically dominant as Jokic is. Like that kind of part of it, like the undeniability with Nash. Like Nash succeeded in a different way. Like undeniability is probably an argument in favor of Kareem as well.
KD to me, passing and handle. That I thought of him too. Yeah, I still might say MJ there.
And so, as has been the case since time immemorial, Minnesota's opportunity to make this a game is with Jokic off the floor, and basically no one has been successful in that so far in this postseason.
Yeah, down 14 right now.
Well, so Moo says Chet Holmgren's going to get cooked by this. If Dallas advances, Gafford and Derek Lively are going to get cooked by this too. Like just because they're a little bit thicker, they're going to get crushed if that's the series.
Yeah, so Jokic is on the bench. They double up on Murray. Here's Gordon, and he finishes on Gobert. That was tough for Gobert. He had to get out on that play by Murray. Murray with a good pass. Gobert got back there to challenge it, but couldn't do much in the end. Here's Reed on the easy pick and roll going at Porter Jr. They should continue to do that with no Peyton Watson. They should go right at Porter Jr. every time. Yeah, one thing that's been very underrated is how well Justin Holiday has done. Like, if they didn't have him, they would kind of be in trouble. So Edwards trying to heat up Murray. Murray wants to get to the screen. He can't do it. Now he's just going to have to try it. He's got nowhere on these isolations. That time he turns past him, though. Missed it. Here's a chance for Minnesota in transition. Edwards. Now Alexander Walker. They miss Gobert again. Alexander Walker, big three. He's missed a few now.
Minnesota had that hot shooting in the beginning of the game that's toned down a little bit. It was something I was scared of early in the game.
Yeah, Minnesota trying to up the pressure. That really has not been a storyline at all since the beginning of game 3. Here's Brown working on McDaniels. No. Loose ball goes to Alexander Walker. McDaniels on the push. Crosses over into the lane. Gets it to Edwards. Wide open for 3. And Minnesota's, these are all woefully short. Will Reed's be? No, that's long. Gobert on the tip out. Reed going to go down. Ant again. Good closeout by Brown to take him off of that. Now it'll be Reed against Murray. Gobert posting up deep, and he's hacked by Holiday. I like Gobert ducking in that specific matchup because he's probably got a good 80 pounds on Holiday.
And Holiday has been aggressive with some of it, being handsy in those circumstances so you can get to the line, kind of stabilize things a little bit. But Minnesota, so far, I think they only have 2 points going into this in the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
And can Gobert make a free throw? That one is good.
What if you had Gobert being guarded by 2 Holidays on each other's shoulders? You can pick which 2.
Second free throw is good for Gobert. Made them both. Edwards, he's just continued to really try and compete in this one. He's been guarding Murray. He's been trying to do everything offensively, but the Nuggets have really kind of taken him out of it. And some of the unsustainable shot making from earlier has also regressed a little bit. Here's Porter Jr. cut off nicely by Edwards, but right back into a rescreen. Tough fading 3. Not even close. That is not Porter Jr.'s preferred side. If he's got to go right and kick that leg out, he's much more comfortable. You'll see they run every single one of his DHOs with Jokic where he's coming out of the right corner going left. Gobert at the elbow. Wants to hand off to Ant. They go under and switch that. Gobert gets out of the way. Here comes the double. Ant gets off of it. Good timing on the pass. Reed pokes it on the Denver defense, and a quick timeout. I think this is going to get Jokic back into the game potentially, but that was one of the few times Edwards has really perfectly timed his pass against the double team to set up a guy who can attack a closeout, and Naz Reed may be the best on the Minnesota team at doing that.
And so now it is a 6-2 start to the quarter. I brought it up, but they scored twice after that from Minnesota. And so, yeah, we'll see if they can do it. And Jokic has the stamina. I think you also want to stem the tide a little bit here and see where these things go.
Yeah, no, Jamal Murray is a non-factor. You know, they haven't needed him that much.
He has occupied some of Minnesota's better defenders and kind of taken them out of things. But yeah, it's been the Jokic show and Jokic driving everything. Murray only 10 shots, 11 attempts from the field, 10 points, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 assists, one turnover. So yeah, it's been limited, but you're occupying one of their better defenders and everything else. That there is value to that, and when you have a better offensive player, that can work. From Colin, how juicy will the Gobert discourse be after the series? Wolves' best game was without him. That game feels anomalous for a couple of different reasons, but I mean, Gobert.
Yeah, they're getting just completely destroyed every moment he's not on the floor in the last 3 games.
And Gobert has defended Jokic well in this game. It's just that Jokic is that good, and I The discourse is going to be bad because the discourse is often bad. But Gobert has done well, I would say, overall in this series. It's just that when you're facing the best player in the world who happens to play the same position as you, no one's going to look good. And it could very well be a circumstance where there are people who are critical of Rudy Gobert, and then a round later, assuming Denver makes it, that they're like, oh, okay, this is what it could have looked like, and it didn't look like.
Has Ant played better than Brunson so far?
In this overall in the playoffs, yes. In this round,
And this is his second bad game. Brunson's had a couple of bad games. I would say yes, because he's played against much better competition.
True. Yeah, I would say overall playoffs and better. I know Edwards was in, like, I think it was Kevin Pelton's warp stat that he was like doubling everyone up after the first round. So I think he's maybe lost some of that edge, but still doing really well. To me, the
Suns
best
were not better than the Sixers. I actually disagree with that. I think that Sixers team was pretty limited. Who would I put on Team USA if Kawhi or Embiid pulls out? Would I put Brunson? Brunson's style, I think we saw that last year. Like, he had a chance to play well, and they gave him the starting spot. And like, his style just doesn't really work, I don't think, next to other stars. And he also is a defensive liability. So if you're not going to be the guy they're going to give the ball to, he's not really a guy who's going to shoot a lot of spot ups. So he's better at that this year. So I don't think I would go there. Yep, Jokic is back. Towns is out, and we're going to get a little cheapy here on Edwards. It looks like of course, the screen was too small due to the report that we couldn't see it. But
and that's only Anthony Edwards' second, but it is, and both teams only have one team foul in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, Towns is back now. Gobert is out. So I expect them to get cooked defensively. Here's Murray downhill. Reed comes over to take the Jokic roll. That leaves KCP open. And that was the right play by Murray. Excellent job. This is something they've done throughout these last few games, of just set the screen, drag the big out into space onto Murray, and then Reed has to come over. Another guy has to come over in the dunker, so the open pass is along the baseline of KCP. And McDaniel's just left wide open by Jokic, but he can't make a pay. Wolves have had their chances on some open threes here and just haven't been able to make them.
Yeah, and that's a big shift from earlier when they were hitting hard shots. But overall, Minnesota, 7 of 21 from long range.
They double team on Jokic before he even tries anything. Porter Jr. getting to a floater, and yeah, that was not a deserved to make right there. I assume Edwards got the whole way in the second half, right?
I believe so. I don't remember him coming out.
And now they're going to get a foul. We'll see if that's a shooting foul. And I think he was trying to make a pass.
I don't think that's going to be a shooting foul. Oh, so Vinland saying he sat the last part of the third.
Okay.
So I can pull that from my box.
Towns guarded by KCP now. They move well off the ball. Jokic picks up a little foul. That would be a transition take foul if it was in transition. But
yes, Edwards sat the last 136 of the third.
They throw it weak side. Yeah, with Jokic guarding McDaniels, they're just letting him shoot. Like, he just hasn't been able to make him pay. That's 2 wide open batting practice threes that he's missed. Speaking of batting practice threes, here's one for KCP. And yeah, they kind of blew that one. They didn't know who they had. They close out to Braun, and that left KCP wide open corner three. Superior positioning and a better shooter. You leave him open instead. But you're supposed to rotate and trust the guy behind you. Here's Towns. Oh, nice closeout by KCP. Towns gets into the lane, and KCP got him. Like, Karl Anthony Towns just has to be able to score against Kentavious Caldwell-Pope on a post-up like that. Alexander Walker tries to deny it. Jokic lays the wood on the screen, gets back into position, but now a front coming. They try to throw. I don't know what that was. And here's Edwards. Jokic actually looking a little tired right now, but there's a steal by Murray. Jokic is now ahead of the field, and he will not be run down. He doesn't do it with quite the same level of style, but I think we might be done here, Danny.
I think we are.
18-point game, and the Wolves are just, I mean, they've had some chances to make some shots, but they're looking done. And not to say they can't win game 6, but pretty incredible response by Denver over the course of these 3 games. So if it gets close again, we'll turn it back on. But I think we're time to go see our families for 20 minutes before we record. So we'll be back tomorrow. I think the plan is right now, second half of OKC Dallas if it's close. And so hopefully we'll see you then. At the end of this like 5-week sprint, my voice is almost gone. So I want to try to preserve that for the podcast that we actually make our money off of. But thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye all.